Okay, in this presentation we're going to look at conditional probability. So a computer manufacturer produces hard drives for laptops at plants located in Cork, Glasgow and Budapest. 40% are made in Cork, 35% in Glasgow and the remaining 25% in Budapest. The probability that a hard drive will be found to be defective upon receipt by a customer is 0.015 if it's shipped from Cork, 0.01 if it's shipped from Glasgow, and 0.02 if it is shipped from Budapest. What is the probability that a hard drive selected at random at a customer location is found to be defective? I think I'm going to call that F, the probability of F. So suppose a hard drive selected at random is found to be defective upon arrival at a customer location. What is the probability that it was manufactured in Cork? So that we know it to be defective. So we're interested in the probability that it came from Cork, given that it was defective. I'm going to sort of say F here, quality control test. Defective would sort of come into that there. Okay, you could go for D for defective as well, but you know, I sort of usually work on the basis of pass or fail, basically. You know, that's all. Okay, so P for fail, P for pass, F for fail with these quality control type test things. Okay, and we're interested in the probability of F. Also, what we're told is where it's manufactured. So we have our events here. It's good to sort of state your events: B, C, and G. Budapest, Cork, and Glasgow. 25% come from Budapest. 40% come from Cork and 35% come from Glasgow, 0.35. And we're also told these conditional probabilities here. Okay, now this is the important part here. This is fairly easy to get the hang of and deduce from the question, but this part here is very important. Reading that properly and understanding it properly, that's the key to the question. So given that it came from Cork, what is the probability that it failed our test? 0.015. Given that it came from Glasgow, what's the probability that it failed the test? 0.01. And then 0.02 that it failed the test, given that it comes from Budapest. Okay, so that's what we put in there. I just sort of go in alphabetical order there, by the way. B, C, G, just alphabetical order. No reason otherwise. So we're going to piece all that together. So the first question is, what's the probability the randomly selected hard drive fails the test? Compute the probability of F. Okay, let's just imagine we have a big pile of hard drives in front of us. And essentially what we can do is split them up into three chunks. The hard drives, the defective hard drives from Budapest, the ones from Cork, and the ones from Glasgow. Okay? It's almost like we sort of separate it up into three piles. So we want to find out what the probability of F and B is. So essentially this can be, probability of F can be broken up into three pieces like that. And those three pieces account for 100% of all of the faulty hard drives. So what we can do here is use the conditional probability formula, which you should know if you're attempting this question, to restate that as the probability of A and F. So if you use the conditional probability formula, we can restate that as the probability of F given B times the probability of B. And likewise, the probability of F and C can be written as the probability of F given C times the probability of C. And likewise, same again for F and G. What's the probability that it failed? Given that it comes from Glasgow, that is the probability of a failure. Given that it comes from Glasgow times the probability that it came from Glasgow. So we actually know all these numbers here. 0.2 and 0.25. So that gives us 0.05. We know that the probability of defective components given that it came from Cork is 0.015, and 40% of the hard drives come from Cork, so that's 0.006. And likewise 0.01, 1% defective components if coming from Glasgow, and 35% of the hard drives come from Glasgow. So 0.035. So if we add that together, we get 0.0145, which is about 1.45%. Okay, which is pretty much very similar to close to the numbers that we were given. Okay, so it should come in between those numbers. That's 1.5%, 1%, and 2%. Okay, so it should come in that range of numbers. So that's the probability of F. Okay, so what we're also asked for is the probability of F or C given F. What is the probability that it comes from Cork, capital C? That's a city in Ireland. A great city, by the way. You should go to it. Even the industrial estates are nice. Okay, probability of C given F, that is the probability of F and C. This is the general formula for conditional probability here. F and C divided by the probability of F. So we're using this number here, that we're able to put that in there, 0.006 divided by 0.0145. And working that out, we shall get 41%. So slightly above average, 0.4137%, 41% come from Cork, which is slightly above average, considering that 40% come from Cork. So that's it. That's conditional probability. That's a quick worked example there.